Okay, the developer who gave us the VeraLux HyperMetric Stretch script just a couple weeks ago has released a companion script to go along with that called the VeraLux Star Composer. And the script is used to add our stars back into our starless image after we have removed the stars with the StarNet function within Siril. It's intended to replace the star recomposition tool built into Siril only because it uses the same algorithms for stretching in the stars as the HyperMetric Stretch does. So once again, accurate colors, accurate data being shown in your completed recomposition. So let's take a look at it. My name is Rich, and you're watching Deep Space Astro. Alright, so we're going to start with getting the script installed. So as always, come up into Scripts, and then Get Scripts. And in our search box, I'm just going to start typing Vera. I already have the HyperMetric Stretch installed, as you can see with the tick box on the right. Here's the Star Composer one, so we're going to do the same thing. Select it, and then click Apply. And we're going to work again with my M45 data. So I am going to open up my stack. I haven't done any processing at all to this. And I'm just going to run through a quick process, but the entire process using both of the VeraLux scripts, just to make sure that I'm explaining things properly. And I know it makes it easier to see more of a start to finish workflow. Again, I'm not going to go deep into processing, but I'm going to show you how to use both scripts within your workflow. So we're going to start with the HyperMetric Stretch, and as you already know, if you've been using it, there's a few things we need to do before running that script. The first of which is just giving our image a crop to get rid of the artifacts around the edges. And then we want to do a background extraction. I am going to come up into Scripts, Python Scripts, Processing, and I'm going to use Auto BGE. You can use whichever background extraction tool that you want. It's fine. Leave the default settings. I'm just going to hit process. Okay, background extraction is complete, so we'll close that. I'm going to come up into Tools, Astrometry, and plate solve the image. Click OK. So the image is plate solved. Now we need to color calibrate. So image processing, color calibration, spectrophotometric color calibration. I'm going to untick plot fits because I don't need that, and click OK. And now our image is color corrected. So at this point, prior to the VeraLux scripts coming out, I used to do my sharpening and denoise while the data was still linear, and that is the recommendation. But with the HyperMetric Stretch, Ricardo, the developer, has said that it's probably better to do that after you run the HyperMetric Stretch. That's up to you. It's not a requirement. You get better results that way. I tend to believe that with a few images that I've ran this through. But if you want to do it right now like you normally would, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to skip it, and I'll do it at the end instead. So that leaves me with my next step, and that is to remove the stars. So I'm going to come up in the image processing, star processing, and then StarNet star removal. Nothing different, nothing changes here. It's the same process as always. Make sure pre-stretch linear is selected and generate star mask is selected, and then click execute. Okay, so now with the stars removed, we're ready to stretch the starless image using HMS, HyperMetric Stretch. So I am going to come out of auto stretch and go back into linear, and we'll move our sliders over here on the bottom just for good measure, and then come up into scripts, Python scripts, processing, VeraLux HyperMetric Stretch. And like I said, I've got a couple videos that cover this tool. If you're not familiar with it, I'll leave a link to those videos down in the description, as well as pop one up here in the corner. You can see my settings have been retained from the last time that I ran through this. So I've got my sensor set, my target background. I'm just going to hit live preview so I can see what I'm going to end up with before I actually hit process. Like what I see in the preview, then I'm going to hit my process button. Once it's complete, just close everything, and there's our stretched starless image. At this point, you can do some curves adjustments and whatever else that you like, and that's fine. But what I am going to do is some non-stellar sharpening and denoising on the starless image. So I'm going to come up into scripts, Python scripts, processing, and we're going to start with Cosmic Clarity Sharpen. Since the stars have been removed, we're going to do a non-stellar only. Bump the non-stellar amount up just a little bit, not too much, and then hit apply. All right, sharpening is complete, so we'll close that script and then come up into scripts, Python scripts, processing, and I'm going to denoise it with Cosmic Clarity Denoise. Again, however you want to sharpen and denoise, it's up to you. I'm just using Cosmic Clarity for this demonstration, and we'll do full and just bump this up maybe to 0.65 and hit apply. Okay, denoising is complete. And before we move forward, I want to make sure I come over and hit my save button. So those two processes are actually saved to the file. And at this point, this is where we recombine the stars. Now, prior to the new script that I'm going to show you today, we usually would do that using Siril's star recomposition tool. So up in image processing and then star processing and star recomposition. This is the tool that we've always been using, right? So over on the left-hand side, we would bring in our starless, and on the right hand side we bring in our star mask and then do our stretching that way. So this is what the script is going to replace using the star recomposition. As you can see, you can still use the star recomposition tool from Siril. That's fine, but you're not going to be getting the benefit of that accurate stretch that VeraLux gives us. So we're going to close this out, come up into scripts, Python scripts, processing, and then VeraLux Star Composer. And similar to what we just did in Siril's recomposition tool, we need to load the star mask and the starless. Now, note in the parentheses, for star mask it says linear, starless it says stretched. So it's telling you exactly that. Our star mask right now, we have not stretched. When we removed the stars using StarNet, it removed them and wrote the star mask off into a linear state. So we'll click that button. There's our star mask. Our starless has to be stretched, and we just did that with the hypermetric stretch, so we know that's good. So we'll click on Load Starless, select our starless image, and now we have both of them overlaid in the right-hand side in our preview window. The preview window works just like it does in the hypermetric stretch. You can use your mouse wheel to scroll in and out. You can use the buttons up here to zoom in and out. You can double click to fit, or you can use the fit button up top here. You can also click the 1-to-1 and that'll give you a 100% zoom. All right, so we'll go back into fit. So we have two composition modes. We have linear add and screen save. Linear add will give you the highest contrast, but there is a risk of core clipping if your background is really bright. Screen save is probably best used for galaxies where the cores are pretty bright, and it'll help tame those down, but it also lowers the contrast. Regardless, it's not specifically only for galaxies, so play with them. You try stretching into stars with your linear, then try stretching them in with the screen. It's fine to use one or the other, just whatever gives you what you feel is the best results. And there's little tool tips over each of them that go over what we're talking about today too, as well as a little question mark down here in the bottom that when you click it, it'll give you a little help guide over in the console. So I'm going to leave it linear add. My sensor profile, just like hypermetric stretch, you want to select your sensor profile. If you don't know what your sensor is or it's not listed, then use the recommended Rec 709. So now we start stretching our stars back in, and that's what our star intensity slider is. As we move it over to the right, you'll see the stars are starting to come back into the image. So just bring that over to taste, however intense you want to bring them in. And I'll call that good for now. And then our next one is our profile hardness. So let me go full screen here so you guys can see things a little bit better. Our profile hardness is going to affect how pinpoint or soft the stars are at. So the default is 6. If I bring this over to the right and you watch the stars, you can see they tighten up quite a bit. The further to the right we bring it over, the tighter the stars get. If we bring it over to the left, the stars are softer and you get more of a halo effect around them. So any of these sliders, as you're playing around, you can use the defaults button down here and that will reset everything for you. Or you can actually just double click right on the setting and it'll take it back for that individual setting for you to what the default was. So I'm going to back the stretch down here just a little bit. I think that's a little bit too much like that. I'm not going to mess with the hardness. I like what I see here. And then we'll move into the physics. So the color grip is similar to what we have in the hypermetric stretch tool, where the color looks way too vivid. Some people think it's saturating. It's really strong and vivid sometimes. So if your stars, we're not talking about the nebula, if your stars look too vivid for you, then you can pull the grip back down. It'll take some of that vividness down of the colors of the stars for you. The shadow convergence slider, which says hide artifacts. So sometimes with StarNet, you'll get artifacts close to around the stars that are kind of left behind. And if you see something like that, you can make adjustments to help clean those out. And it's basically just dampening the chromatic noise in the background to hide those artifacts. So if we I can try and zoom in. There's not too much going on in the way of artifacts in this image. But if you look at like this star, these stars in and around this area, as I bring the shadow convergence over, you can see the effect that it's having. Hopefully, I know YouTube compresses the video, so sometimes what I see you guys can't see, but play with it with your images so you understand what it's actually doing if those artifacts exist in your image. Like I said, I don't have anything going on in this one, so I'm going to leave that over to the left. One more section before we decide that we're good and we hit process is the advanced area right here labeled show star surgery. So if I turn that on, we have 3 additional settings. The core rejection will use a dynamic high-pass filter to remove large non-stellar blobs like in your galaxy cores. And we can actually see it in this one because we have obviously some large stars in here. So if I adjust my core rejection, and you keep an eye on the 7 sister stars in here, you can see how it's tampering them down, right? So it can help specifically around the core of your galaxies, but anywhere where you have large stars, it can help give you a better image depending on your preferences. The next setting, reduction, erosion, is just a way to make your stars smaller. So again, watching the image, I can bring this slider over quite a bit and you can see the stars get tampered down, kind of similar to my star reduction script that I wrote a couple months ago. So it does a very similar thing, probably a different algorithm. I'm not real sure what Ricardo is doing for the star reduction, but it's built into the tool, so you don't need to jump out into another one to make your stars a little bit smaller. So we're going to put that back to defaults again as well. And the last one is the optical healing. So this is for halos. Now, first thing to note, this is not for large halos. It's not going to fix your large halos. It works best for the ones that are close to the star cores. And again, I've got some large halos in here, but like I said, it's not intended to take care of those. So the rest of my stars look pretty good here. We can zoom in just to see if we can see the effect that it's going to have. But it's basically repairing chromatic aberration or color fringing. So if you see a magenta or green halo close to around the core of your star, then the optical healing slider can help remediate that. So as we slide that over, again, I can see an effect it's having on the stars, even though I don't have any halos around some of these smaller ones. But again, play with the setting. If you notice halos close to your star cores, this can help clean things up for you. Once again, I'm going to leave it over. So like I said, this is an advanced section. You don't need to use this. I just want to point them out and cover them so you guys are aware that they're there. So now that we have everything set and we like the way the preview looks, we simply just need to hit our process button and it'll apply our settings, recombining our stars into our starless image for a final result. And there it is. I'm going to bring my slider back over to the right here. So there's my final image. At this point, I already previously did a non-stellar sharpening and denoise. If maybe I wanted to tighten the stars up a little bit more, I could come into scripts, Python scripts, processing, hit sharpen again from cosmic clarity. This time just do stellar only and just do a little bit of quick sharpening around the stars if I wanted to. But generally, when you're recombining the stars, you could probably get the look that you want without needing to come back in and do a sharpening afterwards. But just wanted to show you guys, this is right now where I would do it in my workflow. Okay, sharpening's done, hit close, and I'm going to save the file. What I should have pointed out too is the moment that we added the stars back into our image, you can see on the top here, it's created a new file, VeraLux Star Composer result.fit, which is saved in our working directory right here. So that's what you're working with at that point in time. So that would be my final image. And again, save it off as a JPEG, whatever your additional post-processing steps may be in your workflow. Go ahead and put your final touches on the image and it's ready to go. So another great tool from the developer of the VeraLux suite. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll try my best to answer them. And as always, I want to say thanks to all my members here on YouTube and on Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate everybody's support. Thanks to everybody who shares and recommends my videos, likes, leaves a comment. It all helps the algorithm. Channel's really been growing well, and it's all because of you guys. So that's a wrap for this one. We'll see you on the next video, and clear skies.